Hey everyone, I'm Ryan, you're watching 60 Cycle Hum, and this is going to be my second impressions slash disassembly, reassembly, try to address some issues video with the new Squier Super Sonic reissue thing that they came out with recently. I mean, depending on when you're watching this video, I mean, you might be watching this 1,000 years in the future. Imagine that. People in the future watching this historical record to learn about guitars of the past. So anyways, I've been playing around with this thing for a good day and a half, 2 days, something like that, playing it around the house, sitting on the couch, trying to keep it in tune, which is a major challenge with this thing. It does not like staying in tune. I'm gonna try to address those issues today as I take this thing apart and put it back together. This is not my first rodeo as far as dealing with tuning issues with a super short scale Fender. These, by the way, are a 24-inch scale guitar. I have over here one of my favorite Fenders of all time. The first Fender I ever bought. 90s, made in Mexico, Duosonic reissue. This is a 22.7-inch scale. I think I'm getting that correct. Super duper short, miniature feeling neck. When I got it, it was almost impossible to keep in tune. What did I do to keep it in tune? Well, I put new tuners on it. That was a big help. But then I just spent a lot of attention, on the nut, getting it nice and graphited, and just dialing it in, figuring this guitar out, and also putting heavier strings on it. I usually keep 12s on this guitar. Sometimes I've even put 13s on it. So, this came with 9s on it. I'm gonna scale it up to 10s. I've got these D'Addario 10s here. Also, I think the nut itself is a problem as far as the tuning goes. I think it's cut a little bit rough, maybe. There's some grittiness in there that's catching the strings. So I'm gonna try to use some more graphite to lubricate that nut. Also, these are a coated string. I'm hoping that that means that they'll slide around in the nut a little bit better. I'm not gonna swap tuners today. I don't have a set of tuners to put in there anyways. But if I can't remedy these tuning issues with what I'm gonna do today, then it might be on the table to swap tuners. They seem like they're fine. They seem like they're smooth enough, but maybe for a short scale like this, a higher ratio tuner like the ones that I got from Graphtech that I put on my Strat, maybe those would be in order. I want this guitar to be a playable part of my quiver of guitars. I think it's a lot of fun. I actually really like the sound of it. I've kind of found the soul of it over the past 2 days, where this is a punk rock guitar. This is a 90s alternative guitar. This is a doomy, grungy, sludgy guitar. It wants distortion, and a lot of it. It wants those mids scooped. It wants you to just dig in and chugga those power chords. Despite it being offset and being, pearloid in this pretty baby blue, it's not a surfy guitar, and it doesn't want to be. So I'm not going to try to make it into one, at least not for now. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to change pickups and things like that. Other issues? This switch is real squeaky. Can you hear that? I don't know what's going on there. I'm hoping that I can apply a little bit of lube to whatever parts are squeaking against each other in there. Otherwise, I might swap out that switch. And also, I'm just going to crank down the bridge and take the trim arm out until I can get the tuning stability really dialed in with this guitar. I don't even want to think about dialing it in for heavy trim use. It's just not that guitar. So anyways, how about some cheers? I've done enough jeers. Let's cheer this thing. Super comfortable to play. I love the shape of the neck. It fills my hand in a really fun but fast sort of way. It is a smaller neck, but not as small as the Duosonic. I mean, the Duosonic feels like a toothpick. I wonder what the nut width is on this. It's probably pretty dang small. It feels smaller than this. What if it was the same and I can't even compare right now in person? It might be similar. They both feel pretty small at the nut, but this neck just feels more compact. But this definitely is a smaller neck than like a standard Strat sort of thing. It fills the hand much smaller, just not quite as toothpicky as that Duosonic. The sound of the pickups, like I said earlier, these things want distortion. These are not clean playing pickups. They're a little bit muddy clean, a little bit dark, and then you throw them at distortion and you just start pushing those peaky highs from a distortion, and it just chugga-chuggas. It's got this big meaty sound when you're hitting distortion with it. That's where this guitar wants to live. All right, let's not waste any more time. I want to take this thing apart and take a look inside. I also want to figure out if I can coil cut these pickups. If they're 4-wire, that might be my future. Putting a coil cut on these to get some potential for some single coil surfier sounds out of it. Who knows, right? Who knows? I like to have variety with my guitars. All right, where is my tool? Let's get this back plate off. The strings are getting hung up on it. I got to crank down those springs anyways to make this thing as close to a hardtail as I can. Interesting color code on the strings. It's got this light blue ball end. I don't remember ever seeing that color blue on a ball end before. Yeah, and this one's like bright yellow. I don't know if you can see that. I've never seen these like pastel color codes on strings before. If anyone has any idea what brand of strings these are, let me know in the comments. And now we get a peek underneath the pick guard. I want to see those pickup wires. Find out what's going on here. I know these are atomic humbuckers. That's what the description says. I don't think I've ever had anything with atomic humbuckers in it before, so I'm not familiar with them. I know they're a standard model that gets included in various fenders. I should take the protective film off of this while I'm at it. Officially claim this as my guitar. Here we go. All right. Show me your secret, Supersonic. What have you been hiding from me? Oh, wow. Interesting neck carve here. The heel continues into the pickup route underneath the pickguard. I've never seen that on any Fender style guitar before. This is a unique neck. You can see a little shim sticking out there as well. They shimmed this thing in assembly. All right. I've got to open this up to see the ends of the humbuckers. They are marked neck and bridge, so there is a difference between the two pickups. They are not identical. Sometimes companies will just put the same exact pickup, neck and bridge. I should test the output of these while I'm at it. Yep, we got 4-wire. I could split these. Got the red and white right here and right here. And all I'd need to do is connect those to ground on a switch, I think, and I'd be able to cut the coil. I could be totally wrong on that. It's been a while since I did my own coil cut wiring. Let me get a clear photo of this so people can take a peeky peek. Large pots, but no marking as far as what they're rated at. Let's test these pickups. Multimeter. We'll go off the output jack. Wow, hot. No wonder it's muddy. 14.6 on the bridge. Almost 10 on the neck. Yeah, hit 10 almost perfectly there. 15 pretty much on the bridge, 10 on the neck. Wow. Yeah, that's hotter than I usually go with my pickups. That explains a few things. That explains the deep kind of dark sound going on there. That explains why it's pushing gain so well. This wants to be a high gain guitar. It wants to hit distortion. It wants to hit a hot, hot, hot punk rock amp. All right, let's check out the switch now. I want to know why it's so squeaky. Can I put a little bit of lube on there to get it to unsqueak? Is that the right thing to do? Am I going to ruin something if I put some kind of lubricant on that? Because that is driving me bananas, that loud squeak. I think it's just the tip of the plastic thing contacting the metal blade. Let's see if I can get a good shot of that. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. I wonder if I could get a little bit of graphite from a pencil on that, if it would soften it up. No, that's not working. I'm going to do something that might cause people to scream at me in disgust. I'm going to put a little dab of WD-40 on the edge of this razor, and I'm going to just work it against that piece of metal to see if it can kill that squeak. Just a tiny little bit. I don't want to just go willy-nilly spraying stuff in there. There we go. Oh, that's much better. I just introduced a tiny little bit of WD-40. Hopefully that doesn't ruin the connection or something. It shouldn't, right? Man, something was squeaking bad. It could have been the little joint that it's rocking on. It could have been where it's connecting plastic to metal. But it wasn't pleasant, and I'm glad I fixed it. Another thing is I wanted to rearrange the switch to be up and down. I didn't like having it forward and backward. I want to be able to kill switch it up and down. So just a quick adjustment on that. Okay, I've had questions answered. I can coil cut this thing if I feel inclined. I feel happy about that with the 4-wire pickups. Oh, I fixed the switch. So much better now. Thank goodness I could do that. I don't have to replace it. So if you get one of these and it's got a squeaky switch, open it up, get like a toothpick and dip the end in WD-40 and just dab it around in there. Don't spray it, because I don't think that will result in good things. But just get a tiny little bit in there, and that killed all that squeak. Jeez. Not only was it loud, it felt bad. I didn't like the feel of that squeak. All right, let's bolt this thing up. I'm going to crank down the springs in the back and then restring it. I just remembered, I want to take off the guard on here. This is the perfect time to do it while most of the screws are off. Here we go, this is it. This is me committing. Once you do this, you own it. This is like the actual proof of purchase. Oh, do you own this guitar, sir? Well, I don't know, check the pick guard. Is it missing the protective film? Oh my goodness, he's committed. He really owns this guitar. He's not going to return this thing. He must really like it. I get why they have the film on here to protect it during assembly and stuff, to make sure the pickguard doesn't get scratches. I just hate having those little bits of plastic that you can never get floating around the edges of the screws and switches and whatnot. You find guitars that are like 20, 30 years old that still have that plastic stuck around the screws. It's freaking embarrassing. I didn't swear, just in case there's children watching. Also, I'm just not a swearing person. I don't swear very often. When I do, I try to make sure that I really mean it. Okay, I got it all. You know, sometimes people online, commenters and whatnot, accuse me of being a paid shill. I'm certainly not against being paid to produce content. But if there's any company in the world that I'd want to protect a working relationship with, it would be Fender, because I love Fender guitars. I have forever. The fact that I'm at a place right now where I am on Fender's radar and they have sent me stuff is amazing to me. But the fact that, you know, I buy a guitar like this with my own money because I wanted to cover it and I wanted to have it. I've always wanted a Super Sonic. And then I'm showing you and telling you the exact issues that I'm having with it, I think should be enough to show everyone that, you know, I'm an honest guy. I don't conceal things in videos. I think anyone who's watched a few of my videos knows that I leave all the dirty stuff in there, you know, tuning issues, mistakes that I make. I consider that all part of the entertainment. I want this to be a guitar that I feel comfortable gigging with and using regularly for demos. I think it's got a really fun punk rock sound to it. It could replace the spot in my heart that the Squier Bullet Mustang had that I recently sold. Maybe I'll put a kill switch in here. Maybe I'll completely mod, you know, the control layout here. All right. Someone was asking me in a recent video to do a video showing how to adjust tension springs for a trim. It's really easy. There's 2 screws. And you just tighten them or loosen them. The tighter you go, the harder it's going to clamp down the bridge. If you're trying to float a bridge, you loosen these 2 screws. It's like one of the easiest things you can adjust on a Strat style bridge. If you need a lot more tension, there's 2 more claw hooks here and 2 more holes to mount 2 more springs. They go in super easy. There's a hoop on one end, there's a little pin on the other. The pin goes in there. What I usually do is I loop it first and then I use pliers to grab the pin to stretch it over to here. I might as well do that now, show you. There you go, went in easy peasy. You could put 5 springs in there if you wanted to really lock it down. Let's do that. Let's go 5 springs on this. Let's lock this thing down tight. This is usually the opposite of what I'm trying to do with a Strat bridge, because I'm usually trying to get the smoothest, surfiest kind of trim I can. But I think in the case of this guitar, it needs to be locked down for the time being until I can get this tuning issue under control. Another thing I could do to try is I've got these Graphtec Tusk string retainers. I think I'm going to replace the original retainers on this just to take another point of tuning failure out of the equation. I've never used these before. The little card here claims these increase rich harmonic content and increases tuning stability. I don't know about harmonic content from a string tree, but I could definitely use that tuning stability. Those dropped in nice and easy. I feel good about that. They can't hurt. That's for sure. All right. Time for fresh strings. I'm running out of these. I need to order more soon. Try to get as much graphite as I can in these slots. Really get them lubricated. I usually use a mechanical pencil, but I can't find it. It disappeared on me. You can actually feel it start to get smooth as you rub it in. Pencil lead is not lead, it's graphite, and graphite is an excellent metal to surface lubricant and actually polishes the surface in between the metal. So, as I use this guitar, it'll actually polish the inside of those bridge slots. For those of you that don't know how to string these split top tuners, what I do is you go about 2 tuners past your tuner, and then you trim it. Then all you do is you tuck it in there, straight down the middle, and bend it out one side, and now you're locked in. It's a pretty great design in my opinion. I'll go an extra length for the high strings, just to get more traction. I took a little bit of time breaking the strings in, getting it tuned up, put a little extra graphite on that nut. I think the heavier strings are helping it. I think it needed that extra bit of beef and girth to kind of just stabilize it a bit, give more tension for the tuners to fight against. I don't know, it's helping it somehow. I've been playing here jamming for a while, and I'm slightly out of tune now. I dropped to a detuning, so I was tuning during that as well. But it's way more stable now. Way, way more stable. It could be a lot of things that I just adjusted. It could be the fact that I completely locked down the trim with 5 springs and tightened it up. I mean, that trim is down now. If I put the bar in there, I would not be able to wiggle it at all. It could be the graphite in the nut. It could be the string trees. I don't think it's the string trees. I think they don't hurt. I think it was a nice little extra step to take. But I don't think that's doing the heavy lifting as far as the tuning stability goes. I would be shocked. But they do help because the classic punched metal style ones, the strings can bind up on those. I just don't think that they contributed to the vast majority of the tuning issues. But I think they kind of look nice too. I kind of like that they're a white string tree balanced against the cream pick guard and the zebra buckers and whatnot. I think it works for this guitar. So anyways, I'm stoked now. This thing is playing. I understand the soul of this guitar now. This guitar wants distortion. It wants to sound like the 90s. I mean, that's when this design was born. This is the 90s Squier, the Super Sonic. And it just kind of hits that mood, that spiritual feel very well. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me rude, nasty comments. Support us on Patreon, buy a shirt, and stay tuned. I'm going to jam out with some sort of little loopy nonsense here. All right, bye everybody.